You look at the Atlantic, it's got a massive gap, right? And all of a sudden, Montreal.
See, it's funny. It all depends on how you view it, because I would say the Atlantic Division is the strongest division in the league.
I'd say the Metro is.
I don't think so. I don't think the Metro is very good at all.
Really?
And the reason I think that is because I only think maybe this is a different viewpoint and not the correct viewpoint, but I only think in terms of legitimate Stanley Cup contenders.
Okay.
And I think there's really only 5, maybe 7 teams you can make the argument for, and 3 of them are in the Atlantic.
Boston, Tampa, Toronto.
Yes.
Okay.
The only real legitimate Stanley Cup contender I think that's in the Metro is Carolina.
Okay.
You could maybe make the argument that the way the Rangers have played in the last month makes them one, puts them in the conversation. I think it's a little premature. I don't think anyone else in the East is. So I think there's 4 teams in the East. And in the West, I don't know. It might be even less. Dallas, Winnipeg. Who do you think Vegas is a true Stanley Cup contender? As currently constituted, I don't think Calgary or Edmonton are. Yeah. And I got to see what the Avalanche are when they get everyone healthy to really make a true judgment.
Yeah, the Avs for sure. If you actually look at Edmonton's last 10 games since Christmas, they're starting to play like they did under Jay Woodcroft. Their 5-on-5 goals against is down to 1.6 a game. And if you're at 1.6 a game, then you're that's a really good number. And they've done that now for 10 games. They've figured it out. They still had a few brain farts, like 11 minutes against Seattle, that crushed them. Their penalty kill in LA was terrible. So of the Pacific Division teams, like
right now, yes or no question. Are the Edmonton Oilers a true Stanley Cup threat?
I'd say yes, because I don't see, as you mentioned, there's no dominant team in the Pacific. And once you get to the third round, Frank, anything can happen.
I agree. I think the West is wide open. I will say that. There's no team that you're sitting there, if you're playing or coaching for any one of those teams or managing, that you say, oh, I'm really afraid of that team.
No. Like the thing is, like, Boston's so much better than everyone else right now, right? That, and like, they're the clear dominant team. There's no question. But you look at Winnipeg, like, how's Winnipeg that much different than Toronto? I think Winnipeg has. No,
Winnipeg is actually, they have the same exact points percentage, yes. Same exact games played. In fact, they have more wins than Toronto.
Yeah, like, if you're saying Toronto's a legit, then to me you have to say Winnipeg is, because I would argue that Winnipeg has the more important player. They got the goaltender who's better.
Yeah, I mean, Winnipeg is in sole possession of first in the Central, first in the West. And they're tied with Toronto for the 4th best record in points percentage in the league.
Yeah, and keep in mind, they're only 1 point up on Vegas, 2 points up on Dallas. Like, the West for first place, the race is great. And I actually think it's going to tighten up here when you look at the schedules of some of these teams over the next 10 games.
So how would you rank the 4 divisions in strength?
Well, see, to me, it's overall, if you have top end strength, Boston and the Atlantic, it's hard not to go because Boston's so dominant. But then they have 5 teams, Frank, that are like Buffalo, Florida, Detroit, Ottawa, and Montreal. Most people at the start of the year were like, okay, Montreal's not close. Well, Montreal's 5 points. Now, granted, Buffalo has games in hand, but they're 5 points behind Florida, right? Like, where's Florida gone this year? Like, basically, last year they had 4 good teams in the Atlantic. Now they have 3.
Okay, so rank them. Rank the divisions.
I would rank, for overall, I will go Atlantic still because of their top team. Then, honestly, the next 3, I don't think there's much separation. You can pick either one. I don't think they're separated by that much, to be honest. The Central, there's the wild card, Colorado. Is Colorado the defending champs, or is Colorado an injury-plagued team? So what they did last year is irrelevant. If what they did last year is irrelevant, then the Central is probably the weakest.
I would go Atlantic, Central, Pacific, Metro.
And you don't like the Metro, eh?
I just don't think Pittsburgh Washington.
New Jersey?
I'm not sold on New Jersey. Like, I know that their underlying numbers have been really good. I know that they've scored a lot and their goals against is good. All those things. I mean, so much of where they sit in the standings is the product of a 13-game winning streak. One team on a heater. I mean, I'm not knocking them for it. I'm just saying, if you change the prism through which you view their standings based on that, they've been an unbelievable road team. I can't even believe how good they've been. 17 wins in 20 road games is insane.
Yeah, 17-2-1. It's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I guess I don't think they're in that. I'm not ready to vault them into the Stanley Cup contender conversation.